Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is the Into the Weekend with BetDSI show for college football week 3. We're going to talk to Brent about some of the marquee games from the upcoming card and then get his information on notable sharp and public action from the rest of the card. Brent from BetDSI, thanks for being back with us.
Thanks for having me on, Peter.
All right, so the first thing I want to ask you, last week you told us that you got huge one-way action on Maryland, right? Whatever it was, minus 12, 12.5, 13, 13.5. The sharps were on it, the public were on it, but Maryland lost ATS. So what happened with that one? Was that just a big winner for you, biggest game of the card?
It wasn't bad for us. I mean, in the end, we did get money back on South Florida,
okay.
And the line ended up closing around 11. We did take money, like I said, sharp money. Maryland came, it was 10, 10.5, and 12, and they were just laying it. So we did have, a really big decision. And as the game got closer, we could probably cut that in half. So it wasn't monstrous for us, but it was still a good decision for us. It was interesting because at halftime of that game, the sharps actually took South Florida plus the 7, and they lost that as well. That was Maryland second half won. Where they pushed that, it was 10-3. So it was interesting that they liked Maryland before the tip-off, and at halftime they took South Florida plus the 7. It was interesting that way.
Sure. They make adjustments, and that's shines a little light on what this actually like. Right now we're doing this call on Friday afternoon, but you could easily take more significant action that goes counter to what you tell us in this video between now and kickoff, and then at halftime it's a whole different ball game with the sharp action, right?
Yeah, halftime is just, you'll see guys who will bet one way for the game and be in a position where they can, sometimes these guys will be in a position where they can even middle themselves and get screwed a little bit that way. But
sure.
They're watching these games, they see what goes on, and they say, I kind of want to get off my position, or damn, I really was wrong on this one. I like the other team now.
Yep, it's all about EV and risk management for both sharps and for the books. All right, so let's get to the information that you can tell us so far. Again, it's Friday afternoon right now. The first game I want to ask you about is Georgia, South Carolina, and this line has been creeping up. I think I saw that the initial line movement went down in favor of South Carolina, but now it's up to 6.5 market wide. It was 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. Now it's 6.5, and I'm thinking that this might be one of those games where maybe you're getting sharp action and public action on the same side?
Well, right now our count is probably about 3-1 in favor of Georgia, so I've definitely taken more bets on Georgia. But if you look at our total volume in terms of the dollars wagered, it's kind of close. It's much closer than the 3-1 count that Georgia's favored. Now it's interesting because I've had sharp money on Georgia when the number opened up. We're talking like 4, 4.5, and then I had money come back at 5. But still, just because the count is so high on Georgia, it's crept up and crept up and crept up. Like I said, the money's it's really pretty much even actually on straight bets. When you take account parties and stuff like that, it definitely favors Georgia. But straight bets alone are pretty much even. So I've had, like I said, sharp money came in when it was 4, but I even had sharp money taking the plus 5. So it's kind of weird. It's just public money mostly at this point that's driven up to 6.5 where we are now. I don't see any way this game touches 7, but I've been wrong before.
Right. If it touched 7, do you think that you would definitely get sharp action on South Carolina?
I think so, but the thing too is, if they went up to 7, you're probably looking at, Georgia minus 7. They might do dog 20 or something like that. They might not lay the juice. 7 flat for sure. I would see money back the other way on South Carolina.
All right, interesting. So public favoring Georgia. They're the cause of that line going up, and the sharps have touched this game, but they're kind of conflicted in disagreement on it. All right, and then I want to ask you about Tennessee and Oklahoma because, Oklahoma's a top 5 team. I would assume that they would be getting significant public action. But then again, Tennessee's also, they're kind of a fast, exciting team, and I feel like their team is going to have a lot of public backing this year as well. And I've noticed that there's kind of a lot of bouncing back and forth between 20.5, 21. When I look at the line histories market wide, you see a lot of 21, 20.5, 21, 20.5, back and forth. Now I'm seeing Oklahoma minus 21. What kind of action have you gotten on this game?
Yeah, the bouncing back and forth, Peter, is basically sharp guys going on that one. I've seen them lay 20 and 20.5 on Oklahoma. I've seen them take Tennessee plus 21. So I've got sharps going both ways on this. So the number's probably just going to bounce around between where it is right now, what you've seen out there. Again, the count, mostly public money on Oklahoma, driving that around 3-1. The money also favors Oklahoma, probably a little bit stronger than that. But again, their sharp money's gone both ways. Like I said, the only thing I've had sharp on Tennessee was 21. The Oklahoma stuff was anything below that. You're talking about 20.5 and 20. Even at the total too. I've had action both ways, which is kind of nice for us. We got over 54.5 and over 55. I've come back some money on 56, so we're getting money back there. So we'd probably be pretty balanced on this game, all the way through. If we have a decision, it's mostly going to be public driven, I think, Peter.
Wow. All right. So the same profile with this game then. The public favoring the favorite, and sharps taking both sides. That's kind of a little unusual. Don't you usually, when the sharps come in on a game, they're usually pretty clearly favoring one side? You usually get a lot of games like this where they're conflicted with lines that are so close.
Yeah, I've got there's quite a few games actually this week that we'll talk about later where the sharps are definitely on one side and not conflicted at all. But
right.
I mean, Tennessee Oklahoma is a decent game. The numbers, when you get a situation like that, when the number's 21 and you've got sharps both ways and public going one way, you kind of look at it and say, that's probably the right number then. Right,
exactly. All right, and then the third game I want to ask you about is UCLA Texas. Very interesting. Texas, a home dog of 7, and we know that they are having all kinds of problems all over the field. Ash is out, the suspensions, the injuries, but still, they're Texas. At home, getting a touchdown. I know it's in Arlington, but in the home state game, let's say. And I noticed that the line opened at 6, got bet all the way up to 8, and now it's back to 7. So what caused that movement?
There was decent money taking the +8, but most of the money on UCLA that we saw that was sharp was 6 and 6.5. Mm-hmm. No sharp money at all at 7 where we are right now, but that's really public driven, this one here. I mean, we're talking a count of probably close to 8-1 in favor of UCLA. So it's just
wow.
That counts way off one side on UCLA. Again, the sharps haven't taken Texas +7. The only kind of, like I said, respectable money you might say came Texas +8, mm-hmm. and the sharp money on UCLA was when it was 6 and 6.5. So at 7 seems like we finally hit the right number. 7 minus 15 is where we are now, just because the count is so high in favor of UCLA.
So you're saying that the sharps did come in on UCLA at 6 and 6.5, and the public's overwhelmingly on UCLA, and you haven't gotten any notable sharp action on Texas as a dog at all as yet.
No, not where we are right now. Like I said, decent money +8, but not something that I would,
right.
Not one of the guys who put it, not someone who's made the list yet, put it that way.
Right.
I've got some decent money on the total as well. Again, this is money that we respect. They went under, 53.5. We're sitting at 50 right now. I basically got nothing on the over here.
All right, so it sounds like it's going to be a big decision game for you then. You're going to be needing Texas big.
We're going to need Texas, and I'm sure we're going to need the over as well.
Well, those are the only individual games I wanted to make sure that we touched on. Now, for everyone's favorite part of the show, what can you tell us about notable sharp and or public action that you've gotten from the rest of the card, College Football Week 3?
Well, that team that everyone loves to bet on is Kent State. They're a hot side this weekend. Sharps came in on Kent State getting +32.5, and this is a case where I've got a lot of public money on Ohio State. Of course, they're a home favorite of 32 points. The count's about 4-1 in favor of Ohio State, but my money actually favors Kent State on the straight bet. So that's because the sharp money just is just so much bigger than the public money that came in on that game. But Kent State +32.5 was a definite sharp, and it's nothing but public money on Ohio State. So it looks like we got some value there. Down to West Virginia, they're at Maryland. West Virginia was the sharp side, getting +3.5.
Yes.
My count actually favors West Virginia about 2-1, and my money favors them as well. So I've got sharps and public on West Virginia, which you kind of, we like the sharps going against the public. That's usually the best situation for us. But this weekend we got both of them on West Virginia here. Dropping down to Louisville, that's another hot side as well. We got the public on Louisville. The sharps are on Virginia. Virginia's at home. What are they catching? 6.5 right now, I think it is. My count's probably it's 2-1 in favor of Louisville, and I had the sharp money on Virginia catching +7. Line 6.5 right now. The total on that game was actually sharp as well. We're sitting at 48 right now. I had sharp money come under 49, and I've got nothing but that under money right there. My count's probably 2-1 on the under, so it looks like the public's going under in that game as well. So, again, not a situation where we're getting anything back, but who knows closer to game time. Another game with UL Lafayette, another team you just love to bet on. They're catching 27 points now. Sharps came on Lafayette +28 and +27.5. They're at Mississippi. My count there is about 3-1 in favor of Mississippi. I got public money that way, and my sharp money is probably about 2-1 in favor of Lafayette. So again, when you got the count about 3-1 Mississippi's way, my money is about 2-1 Lafayette's way. That's a definite public and sharp split. And Minnesota TCU, that's another game, 163 rotation number. We're sitting at 49.5 on the total. 48 was a sharp play, so over 48 was a sharp. They've driven that up to 49.5. Another one here. I got these dogs for you this week. Texas State. I mean, people just love that game. Texas State is at home to Navy. They're catching 9.5 now, but I had sharp money come in at 10.5, 10, and 11. So I had 3 different groups come on Texas State. So that's a really strong play when you've got 3 guys going all the one way. The count, not bad. It's pretty close because I've got, public money on Navy and sharp money the other way. And my money favors in Texas State probably, who are we talking about, 3-1. And the count favors Navy. Count's actually pretty close, so that's a definite split there. We've got all a 3-1 on the dog there, Texas State. And Rutgers is another one. I've got a couple of guys on Rutgers. They're at home to Penn State. Line is now 3, Penn State -3 right now. The Sharps took Rutgers when it was 3.5. So again, I got a couple of guys who took that. Count on Penn State is about 3-1, and the money's pretty much even. Again, that's a public sharp split.
Right.
And the last team that I know you guys are going to love to bet on is Northern Illinois. They're at UNLV. They laid 9.5. The Sharps did. We're sitting at 10 right now and haven't really got anything back. So that's another one where, hold your nose. You probably won't want to watch it, but you might want to win it. 2 totals to end this. Nebraska, Fresno State, under 63 with sharp. We're sitting at 62 right now. And Nevada, Arizona, under 64.5 with sharp. We're 63.5 right now, Peter.
Sounds like there's a pretty healthy basket of games with sharp public splits this week.
Yeah, the Cup does run it over this week.
Yeah.
I was going through this, and it's just like there's so many. Again, they're not great teams that you want to look at, like Lafayette and Texas State and stuff like that. But these are a lot of situations where I've got definite public going one way and sharps going the other, so you know what side you want to be on.
Yeah, definitely feels like more than usual this week. College football week 3. Brent from BetDSI, headlines manager. Thanks so much for doing this call with us. Now let's move on to NFL week 2.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.